Are you a South African musician trying to figure out how to register and set up your own independent record label? Welcome to this episode where I plan on demystifying just that. Cue the intro. What's up, it's your boy Skill from skillmusicsa.com and welcome to my channel where I share information with my fellow South African musicians to help them improve on their music business. If this sounds interesting to you, please do consider subscribing as I do have other videos I think you'll find informative. In this video, I plan on telling you how to go about registering your own independent record label. Now, there are several reasons why you'd want to set up your own independent record label, even if it's to help out fellow musicians or to start making an income as an executive of your own independent record label, but I want to tell you exactly how to go, where to go to register your own business as an independent record label. Now, in order to set this whole thing up, you have to register a company. There are several ways to register a company, but the easiest and most cost-effective way is to go to CIPC.co.za and register your own company. Once you've registered a company, you'd want to wait and get your company registration number. From there, you can move on and create your own bank account. With this bank account, this is where your money will be received, and you can use any bank. I suggest that you use the popular banks such as Absa, FNB, Capitec, Nedbank, Standard Bank, whichever one, but make sure that your bank easily integrates with PayPal, especially if you're using platforms that require you to pay and take in money using PayPal. I highly suggest that you do some research before you select a bank. Also choose one that fits the financial means. If there's a bank account where you don't necessarily have to pay or you only pay for transactions, then I highly suggest that you get that bank account to get going. The next place you'd want to go is to register with the taxman in order to get your tax reference number from SARS, because if you're earning money, you have to pay tax. SARS has a few PDFs that I found very useful in order to register and set up my current business. So please do use those resources. Spend some time to understand when you have to pay tax, how to pay tax, etc. The very next thing you want to do is most likely register your company in some way to start receiving performance royalties. Most of the time, if you have an independent record label, you usually take a portion of the performance rights of an artist in order to make the money back that you've invested into them. So I highly suggest that you register with SAMRO, but now since it's a company that you're registering, you don't register as an individual, but you register as a publisher. Technically, you will have to be doing the publisher until you get into another publishing deal, but initially your company will serve as a publisher. You cannot do this if you don't have a bank account, a tax reference number, and a company registration number. Moving on, once you've taken from the performance royalties, you also want to take as much from the mechanical royalties. So you do the same process, you register your independent record label with CAPASSO. CAPASSO handles the mechanical royalties, and also make sure that you're registering the company as a publisher. The same reason applies, they don't have necessarily, but as explained before, since you will be doing the publishing until you get a publishing deal, you also want to be involved in taking the mechanical royalties from the artist that you will be signing. The very next thing you want to also do is go to RISA. Now, in terms of RISA, you most likely will want to register as a company. That's approximately 500 Rand last time I checked. The reason you want to register with RISA is it opens up a platform to network, especially if you're in Joburg or wherever they're holding their conferences. So I highly suggest that you register with RISA, and you also want to get your own ISRC codes through RISA. The same reason is so that you can track your music once it's being played by your several artists. So let's just summarize real quick before we carry on. The first thing you did was register a company. The second thing you did was get a bank account. Thirdly, you got a tax reference number from SARS, so you registered with SARS. You registered with SAMRO in order to get your performance royalties. Then you registered with CAPASSO in order to collect mechanical royalties from the artists that you've signed. Then you registered with RISA in order to get networking and get benefits of record labels. I highly suggest you do this. It's not a must, but I highly suggest you do this. You also registered your company in order to start collecting the ISRC codes, which you'll be assigning to your artist's music. The very next thing you also want to do is register with SAMPRA or IMPRA, depending on how you want to set it up, but most likely SAMPRA, as IMPRA has to do with musicians, so SAMPRA is where you'd want to go as a record label. The reason you want to do this is to start collecting needle time royalties from your sound recordings, especially if you are paying for most of the sound recording. Then your independent record label will want to collect collect needle time royalties. Once you've registered with these organizations, you should be sorted in order to collect all the royalties or most of the royalties within the South African context. The next step would be trying to register worldwide in order to collect all the royalties worldwide. It's probably impossible if you're an independent record label yourself, so you would want to use a publishing administrator or publisher to register all your music that your artists have all over the world. Also, it'll be difficult to register all over the world if you don't have a catalog, so I highly suggest you start finding talent that you want to include into your record label. But before you start signing anything crazy, make sure you got your contracts in order. I have not set up these contracts because I currently use my independent record label myself, but I highly suggest that you get an entertainment lawyer to set up contracts that will work specifically for you. But there are several free resources online. I also suggest that you find out about how to do the other stuff that record labels do, such as marketing, distribution, etc., etc. But that concludes it for now. Basically, where you need to register. That concludes this video, where to register and set up your independent record label in South Africa. I hope you found this video informative, and if you did, please hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell, as it notifies you every time I release my next video. And I have a WhatsApp group. I have left the link in the bio, as I'll be sending once a week updates to tell you exactly which video is being released. Thank you again, and until next time, Skilligan the Hooligan, signing out.